Not yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, welcome to another edition of the Taking the Points NFL Betting Show. Your number one spot for Coach Jay's winning picks. Coach Jay, winner last week. Merry early Christmas to you, man. What's going on?
How we doing? You guys doing okay? Another victory Sunday, Monday for me, Wednesday.
The only guy on this panel that knows what the hell they're talking about, JJ. I have the records right here, so I'll go ahead and read them. Coach Jay, again, won. He was 17-12-3 last week. I was 16-14-2. JJ 13-17-2. But as you can see, I am in last place. But JJ, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Happy Wednesday.
First and foremost, 213-209 is a pretty damn good record for everything. So don't categorize me in this little low tier category that you're in, Grant. Right, I'm still above 500. I'm pacing.
Yeah, but you've lost the juice, JJ. You've lost the juice.
I didn't lose the juice. I'm not out yet. We got 3 more weeks, big guy.
We will see. Yeah, we've got some interesting games this week. As you guys know, Christmas slate is here. So we've got 3 games on Monday, some Christmas Eve, some Saturday. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Not waste any time. Thursday Night Football, Saints at Rams. I was telling these guys off air before we started, I'm all alone on an island at the bottom of this hill of records. So if I'm going to make an epic comeback, I'm going to need some different picks. And we're starting it off. I'm on the Saints to cover. But Coach Jay, I'm coming in here first. You're batting lead off today. You are not. The Rams are a damn good football team. We've covered them several weeks in a row now. Back at home on Thursday Night Football, and what is a huge game as far as NFC playoff implications go. So walk me through the LA Rams covering against the Saints at home on Thursday Night Football.
It's a big game. You're exactly right. Big game for the Rams. Big game for the Saints. And I really think this is one of the best games on the slate. And this could go either way. But I took the Rams because they can run the ball extremely well. And obviously, Matthew Stafford's throwing the ball extremely well to Cooper Kupp and Puka, and obviously Robinson. I mean, they're doing a good job on being balanced, and that's what the Rams are all about. And I think that at the end of the day, the Saints, I don't know where they're at. They take Derek Carr out, they bring in Hill. They don't know where they're at identity-wise. I just think the Rams know where they are, and I think they'll get the victory by more than 4. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because I think there's going to be a lot of running the football. I think the clock's going to continue to move, and I think the Saints are going to try to display a tough running game with Alvin Kamara, obviously, and Hill, Taysom Hill, and I think it goes under. But I think the Saints get them.
JJ, the Saints do get Chris Olave back this week versus the Rams. They've held their opponents to 6 points exactly the last 2 games. Granted, it wasn't the Rams, it was the Panthers and the Giants, but that's not enough to get you to take them to cover on the road.
Yeah, this is the toughest game on the slate. It really was for me to judge on who's going to win this one. But you never know what you're going to get out of the Saints. I bet the Saints quite a bit this season. They let you down. They helped you out, but majority of the time they let me down. And again, I think the Rams are well balanced. Kyren Williams, he's playing really well. He turned the ball over twice. Kind of nervous about the turnovers because at one point the Saints were leading the league in turnovers. They're tied for first. They kind of fell off a little bit, but defensively they can still get there. But again, I like the Rams here. I think they're the more well-equipped team to kind of move forward, and I like what Sean's doing here in LA, and I think they win.
Kevin White says we need some winners, JJ. He's looking at you for some winners this week. Speaking of you didn't mention it, but it popped in my head. Are we fantasy football playoffs? Did we win, lose? Are we in? How are we looking?
I lost my work league. I was the number 1 seed. I lost 2 games all year. I put up 135 points every week, and I lost in the first round. And I only put up 95. The first time I put up 95 all year. But my other 2 leagues were still in. The big money league, I'm still in top 4. So
love it.
Move forward.
Coach, where you at?
I'm involved in one. I'm in the final 4, thanks to James Cook. Rolling versus the Cowboys last week. That was huge. 37 points, I think he got for me. So, yeah, I'm still in it.
Yeah, the one league I'm in, James Cook actually thrashed me. He was one of the reasons I lost. So I am out. Just like the Survivor, I was the first one out. But let's keep rolling here. Bengals at Steelers, excuse me. I'm probably going to get shirt for this pick. I probably by JJ, if not Coach, or both of you. But look, it's bad in Pittsburgh right now. You got George Pickens throwing a hissy fit on the sideline every other week. You got them switching to Mason Rudolph. You got Jalen Warren saying, if it was me, I would have blocked for George Pickens. They're a mess. Mike Tomlin every week says changes are going to be made. But again, I think with Mason Rudolph, and I think just with, obviously Mike Tomlin's a great NFL head coach. His tenure doesn't really have many losing seasons or miss the playoffs. It's looking like they're going to miss the playoffs this year. But JJ, I'm coming to you here first. Jake Browning, they had a big comeback win against the Vikings last week, and you're taking them on the road this week against the Steelers.
Yeah, I am. I think Jamar Chase is a big loss, though. That's going to hurt. I got that news a little later than normal, but I still think the Bengals pull this one off. We got Joe Mixon and Chase Brown, who's coming in as a great number 2 running back behind him, making his way on the offense and making a name for himself a little bit. But T. Higgins still involved, Tyler Boyd, Jake Browning still playing okay. I mean, I can't bet on Mason Rudolph. I can't bet on a third-string quarterback. I can't even bet on the Steelers. I think I faded them almost every game this season, maybe but 2. But being on the road is going to be tough. It's a hard place to play. But ultimately, I think Cincinnati gets the job done.
Coach, I got to ask you, how impressive is it that obviously, I mean, most people wrote the Bengals off once Joe Burrow got hurt, and Jake Browning all of a sudden has won 3 straight games against the Jaguars, Colts, and the Vikings. So how impressive is it, what they're actually doing in Cincy and how magically they're not only in the playoff running, but they actually, as of today, hold that 6th seed?
For sure. Zach Taylor's done his best coaching for sure the last couple of weeks. I mean, Jake Browning is a good quarterback, but you have to adjust your play calling, and he does a great job of giving Jake some comfortable completion type throws. They still have some good weapons with Joe Mixon, obviously T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, like you guys mentioned. I just think that Pittsburgh is all over the place. They don't play with great effort on offense. The receivers don't block. I think they're in a bad place right now mentally. And if things go bad early, I think the Steelers fold. That's why I took Cincinnati.
Cincinnati did lose DJ Reader, that good defensive tackle, last week to injury reserve, so that does hurt him. Cam Taylor-Britt is on injury reserve as well. And then, JJ, you did mention Jamar Chase. So injury bug is starting to hit Cincy a little bit, as we all know it did once Joe Burrow got hurt. But it should be a good game again. I have a hard time. I know it's Mason Rudolph, but the Steelers at home in a game that they need against the Bengals, it's going to be close for sure. The next game on the slate, Coach Jay, I am mind blown at you. When you submitted these picks, you were the one who's been taking Josh Allen when JJ and I have not all year long, and all of a sudden, you're taking the Chargers to cover with Easton Stick against the Bills. Look like top to bottom right now one of the best teams in the NFL. So I got to hear why you're on the Chargers, because I was pretty shocked when I saw you submit this pick.
It's 12-0 before kickoff starts, so I get 12 points. That's why. And I think that the Chargers will come out and they'll try to run the ball. We saw what they can do when they can run the ball, and I just think they're going to run the ball, keep the thing close, and it's going to be a bad game. I don't think the Chargers win in any stretch, but I think they cover the 12. I'm taking a 12-0 head start. I think we're going to hold it till the very end and cover at the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was called a fluke or whatever last week, but if the Raiders can beat them by 42, I like to think the Bills can beat them by 12 points. JJ, you're with me on the Bills to cover. So,
Bills playing at a high level right now. It's hard to bet against the wave, and I hate fading my little philosophy on taking a team that fires their head coach and then they cover the next week. I mean, that's the one thing I did not like about this play.
JJ, you did.
I did not. That's the only reason why I didn't like this Bills. Bills are playing great, though. They're playing great. James Cook is coming alive. I mean, he's looking great. I mean, from what he started at the beginning of the season, they're starting to feed him the ball more. And we saw it last week against a really, really talented run-stopping defense in the Dallas Cowboys, and he shredded them. Hopefully that can kind of carry over. It's going to be tough for them to beat them in Buffalo. The Chargers, I think they're just going to run away with it. It's going to be loud. Bills Mafia fans, they're back behind the team full force, and it's just going to be a loud environment. I like the Bills, man. I think they run away with it.
Coach Jay, their Bills are currently on the outside looking in, but you've got Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. The Bills getting in or no?
I love the Bills. Yes, they're going to get in, and they are a very good football team, and nobody wants to draw the Bills in the first round. I promise you that. But I do think the Chargers sneak over and cover this game. I don't know why. I just think they do.
Saturday night, weird vibes. Who knows? I mean, again, the coach stat is real. We talked about it earlier this year, JJ, and you just mentioned it. So, and the GM's gone. I wonder what the stat is on a head coach and a GM both getting the boot on the same day. But again, it's going to be a good game. So we're going to see what happens. Browns Texans. Let's keep rolling here. Cannot call me a homer still because I had them losing the 2 games they lost back-to-back a couple weeks ago, and I had them last week. It was a bizarre game. Joe Flacco looked like 38-year-old Joe Flacco for 90% of the game until the fourth quarter. JJ, it's going to be Joe Flacco versus Case Keenum this week. They're saying CJ Stroud is still not going to play with the concussion and concussion protocol. They barely beat the Titans last week. So, again, I mean, I think the Browns top to bottom are a better team, but walk me through Case Keenum covering it at home.
I mean, they did a great job coming back last game. I mean, they were down, they were out, they had a backup quarterback in. Things weren't going their way. They fought their way back into the game and ended up winning the ball game. They're a resilient football team. They could even win the AFC South, where they're still on that line right there. So I think that they're playing with a lot of momentum from last week. Cleveland not so good on defense, on the defensive side of the ball on the road, so it's going to be tough for them. So I just really think that the Texans here can win the game outright, and it's Houston's, I know, is a tough place to play too.
Coach Jay, D'Amico Ryans, I think we can all agree, is in the running for Coach of the Year at this point. What he's done has been fantastic with CJ Stroud, and now winning, like JJ mentioned, with Case Keenum. I mean, Keenum had 230 yards, a touchdown, and a pick last week. So you're taking your boy Keenum again this week at home against the Browns.
Yes, I coached Case Keenum for a year. I love Case. Case is a tough guy. He's a resilient guy. He's a mentally tough guy, and I think he does enough to get this job done. I'm not convinced on the Cleveland Browns offense or defense. They've got a lot of injuries, man, and hats off to Stefanski. He should be in the running for Coach of the Year for sure. Both of these guys, I think the winner of this game is the front runner for Coach of the Year, quite honestly, and I think both coaches have done a great job. But I think Houston, for whatever reason, with Case Keenum, I think he's a tough guy, and I think the players rally around him, and I think they get the job done.
Yeah, they've got that. I think Nico Collins is still banged up, but Noah Brown is an excellent young receiver there as well. I mean, they have a great football team. And again, like I mentioned, I love what D'Amico Ryans is doing. So it's going to be a very, very, very tough game for the Browns on the road. The next game, JJ submitted his picks, and he said trappy trap all over it. Colts and Falcons. We're all on the Colts, but I'm with you, JJ, and I want your rationale. I think it is absolutely bizarre, on the road or not, that the Indianapolis Colts are not favorites in this ball game against the Falcons, who once again just benched Desmond Ridder.
I mean, yeah, you just said it best. I mean, you kind of took away some of my steam, but they just lost to the Panthers. They literally just lost to the Panthers. We saw the Colts dominate last week, take a win. They're in the playoff hunt, and now they're +1. They're only +1. That makes zero sense. That line makes no sense. I mean, this has Atlanta written all over it. Again, I'm feeling like I'm fading myself on what I typically do here, but I mean, this is a tough one as well. This is another one of those head scratchers. But you know, who knows what Heineke can bring to the table here? We'll see what happens. But I just think the Colts are playing with a lot of momentum. I doubt Gardner Minshew every other week. This time I'm going to be behind him. Hopefully he gets the job done again.
Jay, what's your rationale behind the 8-6 Colts being underdogs on the road against the Falcons team that looks just not good right now?
There's no rationale. I don't understand it really. I think the Falcons have struggled offensively for a long time, and they're not very good on offense. I think Gardner Minshew, I think the Indianapolis Colts offensive line is the most underrated group in football. They're very physical. They can do a lot of things. They're RPOs, they're zone reads. They can do a lot of different things that can hurt you between the tackles, outside the tackles. And I think the Colts are a better team. I really do. I love the Colts. I love what the head coach has been doing. And I think the Colts are just going to take it. I really do. I don't know. I don't know. This is a tough game for me because, you know, I like Atlanta and I like what some of the players they have, but I just think the Colts are underrated and I think they're going to get it done. It's just hard. This is a tough game. I think you can flip a coin on this one. Like JJ always says, hey, just flip a coin. But I'm taking the Colts and Gardner Minshew because he's a more experienced guy. I love Heineke. They're both very similar quarterbacks, but I think Gardner Minshew gets it done.
Coach, were you watching Steelers Colts last week, Saturday? Were you watching that game?
Yeah.
Thoughts on Steelers, the defensive back, DeMonte Kazia, if I butcher his name, I apologize, out for the year, suspended for the hit. What were your thoughts on the hit? I mean, everyone's talking about it, so we got to get your thoughts.
Yeah, it was a brutal hit, and I think that anytime you lead with your head, that's the biggest thing that you got to worry about. You know what I mean? And I always trying to make a play and try to get the ball out, but when you lead with your head that violently, I think steps are going to be made because the NFL is they're very aware of those issues right now. So I think they had to make a stand, and It's only 3 games technically, so I think it was the right call. Actually, I don't agree with the NFL very often, but I do agree with that one. That was a violent hit, and you can't leave with your head when the guy's coming down with the ball.
Yeah, 100%. Michael Pittman is a great receiver, so it sucked to see him go down in that fashion. Seahawks-Titans, I believe, is the next game here. How about those Seahawks? Everyone's on them this week, and everybody was on them last week at +4 on Monday Night Football. We'll get to those Eagles who are struggling here a little bit later on. But, JJ, the Titans, again, we just mentioned, right? Disappointing loss at home last week to the Texans in Case Keenum. Will Levis seems like he's off and on. That big win against the Dolphins, then he loses to Case Keenum. You're obviously fading them at home against the Seahawks, but let's talk more about the Seahawks because Drew Lock looked good. I think Geno Smith's going to play this week, but I mean, the Seahawks are a team that if they get in, and it sounds like they might, I mean, they could make some noise too. I'm not saying an NFC championship, but they can win a playoff game, those Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could definitely get in. Kenneth Walker is one bad man. That was an awesome game that he had. He had an awesome touchdown run. He's a beast for that Seattle team. And when he's playing, they're a different kind of animal because you could do a lot with him, and then that can open some things up for a guy like Drew Lock. So I like the Seahawks here for sure. The Titans last week were unimpressive. The offensive line wasn't very good. Derrick Henry had about 15 carries for like 15 yards. Nothing going for him there. Levis was getting hit hard. There's a lot of momentum taken away from the Titans too. So I'm going with Seahawks here.
Jay, impressive win, like I mentioned, for those Seahawks last week at home. Drew Lock legacy game-winning drive. Somebody that has really stood out for them all year and has been consistent, not crazy numbers, but their rookie Jackson Smith and Jigba out of Ohio State. Fantastic receiver. They've got Lockett. They've got DK Metcalf. I actually think the Seahawks win this game pretty easily. So thoughts on them going on the road against Tennessee?
I agree. I think Seattle's a good football team. I think you mentioned it with the 3 receivers that they have that are very good, 3 of them. That are very good. They have good wide receiver. They have good running backs. They have good tight ends. They can hit you a lot of different ways with 2 tight end sets, 3 tight end sets, 1 tight end sets. I just think they're a much better football team, especially if Geno comes back. They're way better. If you watch Geno Smith's last game against Dallas, I mean, they scored 5 possessions in a row against a good Dallas defense. And I really think Seattle, if they get into playoffs, they have a chance to make a little bit of a run. Defensively, they're not that great, but I still think that Seattle is a good football team, and I think they cover easily in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you on the easily, and like I mentioned, we both said it. I mean, I think they could win a playoff game, potentially make a run there too. So playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. Lions-Vikings is the next game on our slate. Everyone clean slate once again, not only on the over-under, but also on the Lions -3.5. JJ, Nick Mullins, they blew a lead against the Bengals last week. Pretty disappointing. Nick Mullins' stats, I think I got him pulled up right here. 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks against the Bengals last week. Do you think they get in the playoffs with Nick Mullins leading the helm the rest of the way? No,
it's over. It's over. Detroit's going to come in there. They're going to whip their ass. It's over. The bright side was Ty Chandler last week. He had like 140 yards on the ground, a touchdown or whatever it was. He played really well, but I think the Lions are going to help stop that. And if they stop that, they're going to have no chance in the air. The Lions are just going to be explosive on offense. We saw Minnesota have a meltdown. Again, I just like Detroit here. I think they're going to start getting things rolling a little bit. The train is on its tracks and it's charging right to the playoffs. So if they can get some momentum going, they'll be a tough team to beat in the NFC.
I'm with you. I mean, I thought Jared Goff was a bridge quarterback, but I think the Lions are going to come in here and he's been impressive. But they're going to smack that ass in Minnesota. Coach Jay, our team's going to start to slack off a little that want to get that first round pick. I would imagine one of the top ones you mean there. Do you think, teams that are on the brink of getting the number 1, number 2, number 3, don't lose intentionally, but start to rest guys in and out to try to get a better pick?
No, nobody ever tries to lose, Grant. Nobody tries to lose. I mean, the picks will come as they come, and coaches never want to lose a football game. But I think Detroit, their identity has been established. They have 2 really good running backs. Both of them averaged over 4.7 yards a carry. Yep. Minnesota's got a very good defense, and I really like what they've done defensively. But I think Detroit really is scary because once they get the run game going, Jared Goff is one of the best play-action pass quarterbacks in the NFL. And if he can get that going, that part of his game going, Amon-Ra St. Brown and the rest of the guys, Laporta, I mean, they're a tough team to beat. Now, their defense isn't very good, which scares me, but Mullins, I'm not too worried about him. putting up a lot of points. I think Detroit wins this game quite easily. Neither one of these teams are going for the first-round pick, so I don't know what you're talking about. These guys are all vying for playoff spots, both these teams. So I don't think they have to worry about tanking either one of these teams.
Yeah, no, I think that question from Java is more just so the teams that are on the brink to get the number 1 and number 2, number 3 overall, but I'm with you. Jared Goff, 3,727 yards, 26 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's having a monster year. Next game is Commanders at Jets. I'm actually taking your Commanders, Coach Jay, and you're not. The Jets looked terrible last week. I believe they were shut out by the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a good team, but 30-0. I mean, Coach Jay, what do the Commanders have to do to not only cover, but win this game, or is there no way that the Commanders win this game?
Oh, there's a way. Obviously, they have quarterback issues now. Sam Howell got benched last week, and obviously it's a shit show over there. There's no questions about it. The Jets also have issues. Their offense was horrific against the Dolphins. They can't pass protect. They can't drop back and throw it. They don't have a lot of weapons. If they don't get Breece Hall going, they have no chance. I just think this game is going to be a very low-scoring game. Or actually, there might be some touchdowns in this game, one of those games. But I just think that the Commanders are so off in what they're doing. Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, who's playing, the issues that they have defensively. They haven't covered anybody. They can't stop the run. So I think finally the Jets might get on track on offense, and I think the Jets cover.
So I got to ask, I mean, Sam Howell's a young quarterback who looked fantastic for the majority of the year, right? I mean, they're 4-10. The Commanders are not making the playoffs. What could they possibly gain by taking reps away from Sam Howell and going to a guy like Jacoby Brissett when, I mean, he's going to be a backup the rest of his career. He's a veteran. Like, when do you think it would make sense to just keep Sam Howell in there and keep getting him reps and seeing what he has versus go to a backup when you're 4-10 and not going to make the playoffs?
Well, Sam will get the start again, and Sam has played pretty good football throughout the course of the year. Unfortunately, he's had a couple rough stretches, which most quarterbacks have when they're young. Jacoby's a veteran guy. When he comes in, it's like, things go smoothly. He can throw a deep ball here and there, but I still think Sam Howell is the future of that team if they don't draft a quarterback next year. So they have to continue to build his confidence moving forward. However, moving forward is who's the coach going to be, who's the offensive coordinator going to be. So they have a lot of issues there. It's a very tough situation for the Washington Commanders to be in right now because the coach is on the hot seat, very hot seat. The quarterback is right now a little bit unsure about is he going to finish the game or not. Now Jacoby Brissett played very well last week. So a lot of issues in Washington. That's why I took the Jets. They have some issues too. I mean, they lost their quarterback. They went to 2 quarterbacks, but defensively, I think the Jets are just a better football team. Terry McLaurin will be covered by 2 of the best corners in the National Football League, and I think the Jets get the win.
JJ, I thought it was funny. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers potentially coming back a couple weeks ago, and of course, right when they're officially not going to make the playoffs, he goes, "Oh, I'm still 3-4 weeks away. I'm not going to come back." Again, I if he was going to come back, it was going to be a miracle anyways. I mean, you just don't see it, but you're on the Jets as well to cover -3 at home against the Commanders?
Yeah, I am. Just defensively, I think they swallow them up. Gonna be tough. And the one that I was surprised about, you guys are both on the over, which is surprising. I don't know why you guys are on the over because I think the winning team is gonna win 17 or whatever. So I'm more so on the under in
Long
this game.
snapper in Washington. The long snapper dribbles them back. I don't know. Long snapper. Every time I bet the under, there's a block punt or some crazy, a punt return, fumbles, all that stuff. I think it's going to be a sloppy game. I think there's going to be some points scored. That's why I took the over. It's a long shot, but I took the over.
Yeah, 36.5 seems relatively low. Again, I know the Jets defense they have players and they're good, but I mean, we have seen Sam Howell throw for 300 yards, a couple games this year, and I think it's going to be sloppy, as you mentioned, and who knows, he might throw a long touchdown or 2, and so I'm banging on a last second over in this game. Next game, Packers at Panthers. I might have more people at my family Christmas party next Monday than the Panthers are going to have at this football game. Last week, it literally looked like a JV high school game with the attendance there. I believe you could get in for 45 cents. Everyone's on the Packers to cover. Very disappointing. I'm serious. I swear to God, I think I saw 45-cent ticket prices on TickPick last week. I'm not kidding. There was nobody there. I mean, it literally looked like a JV football game.
It was raining though.
It was it was really bad. Even if it was monsooning at that game, I mean, you could have, again, don't need to elaborate on it too much. It was bad. But JJ, Panthers, Packers. I'm coming to you first, man. Packers again, disappointing. I believe they've now lost 2 games in a row to the Bucs and the Giants. But again, they're playing the Panthers, so I think they should cover 5 of these, right?
Yeah, the best part of the afterwards of the aftermath of the Packers game was the Onion reporting on one of the corners out in space, saying we finally found sight of a corner for the Green Bay Packers. It was bad, man. The defense didn't play well for the Packers. Jordan Love was doing what he can, but low total after letting up so many points last week to the Buccaneers, surprisingly in Green Bay, where LaFleur is 16-0 or whatever it is in Green Bay in December. So that was a surprising win for them. Going against the Panthers team, though, they can't move the ball offensively. So I think the Packers will put up some points. I think the defense is going to get it together. Low scoring. I like the under. I think we're all on the under, but Packers get it done.
Remember last week, Coach, when I told you that I was taking the Panthers to win that game just because I didn't think they were going to go 1-16? It worked out.
Great call.
But seriously, I mean, in this game, Baker Mayfield was actually I think he was the first quarterback ever to have a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field against the Packers last week. So that defense is going to have some improvements to do this week. But again, you're playing Bryce Young, rookie who has struggled. I think the Packers win this game by 10, 15 points, Jay.
I agree. I think the Packers will step it up defensively. Joe Barry will get them going. He's on the hot seat big time in Green Bay. Everybody wants him out, but I think he gets his defensive unit going against a horrific Carolina offensive football team. So I figure they'll hold them at least 10 points or less, and Green Bay will score at least 20-plus points. So unless there's some special teams, crazy plays that happen, I think the Green Bay Packers, this is one of the easiest bets of the week, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this -5 line is free. But you know what you say in sports betting, if something seems free, something might happen and the Panthers might get a last-second backdoor cover. So.
Backdoor cover.
Speaking of backdoors, the Commanders almost had that backdoor, too, at the end there.
They did.
Say that.
Yeah, that game.
That was a blowout.
They won by 8 points.
Tyron Williams fumbled twice. I mean, they missed a field goal in the red zone. I mean, that game wasn't even close.
Yeah, it felt close because it was 28-20, but it should have been like a double digits 14-17 point game.
Yeah. Exactly.
So Jaguars Bucks next game, we'll keep rolling here. Baker Mayfield again, like I mentioned, the guy is playing really good football right now. I know the strength of schedule is not there, but Baker is looking like a quarterback that could get some money this offseason after his 1-year deal. And then you got the Jaguars on the other hand, JJ. So I'm coming to you because Trevor Lawrence is questionable. And if he doesn't play, you're looking at CJ Beathard. So I think a couple weeks ago you were saying you like CJ Beathard. So regardless of who's the quarterback, are you still taking the Jaguars?
I always get CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins confused for whatever reason because I think they were both backups at San Francisco at one point. But no, I'll still take Jacksonville. I think they're the better team. They got some. I mean, the Bucks. I still think. I mean, they're going to cause some problems on defense for the Bucks. I mean, they can't cover at the end of the day. So I think that the offense is going to get going. The receivers are going to get going. I don't care who's playing back there. I think whoever plays quarterback's going to have 250 plus. They're going to eat them alive. And I think Jacksonville's going to figure out a way because they're on a little bit of a losing streak. They're going to get things back on track. They're fighting for that AFC spot. So I like the Jaguars.
That is one thing that scares me, Coach, on the Bucs is, I mean, the Jags were 8-3. You blinked, and now the Jags are 8-6. So they need to win in a bad way in Tampa this week.
Well, Jacksonville's got to get the running game going. I mean, Travis Etienne's their best player because if they want to throw the ball, who are they going to throw it to? I mean, Ridley's a good player. They're going to throw to Parker Robinson.
Zay Jones is now banged up. So
Zay Jones is out. Christian Kirk's out. I mean, they can't throw the ball. So
I like
they have
Evan Ingram.
issues offensively. They really do. So I'm taking the Buccaneers, who's playing very good. And Baker Mayfield's playing at a pretty high level right now, no matter what you say about him. They have Mike Evans. They have Chris Godwin. They're playing pretty damn good. The Buccaneers right now at this point. Now if it was week 2, I would have taken the Jaguars. Jaguars would be like a 12-point favorite. But right now, the Buccaneers, I think, are playing better football than the Jaguars. That's why I'm taking the Bucs.
Not wrong. They definitely are. But like I said, it does scare me, JJ. The Jags need one in the worst way. They're 5-1 on the road this year. So they know how to win football games on the road. But the Bucs are rolling, Coach. You're exactly right. Cardinals, Bears. I'm on an island here with the Cardinals. I will say they lost, I believe it was 16 points to the Niners, but they put up more than I thought they would, and they looked like a better football team than I thought they would look like against the 49ers, who are clearly the powerhouse of the NFL. JJ, the Bears, as you know, again, they lost last week to my Browns, but if I forget, Darnell Mooney doesn't drop that Hail Mary, they win the game. At home, they're 3-3 at home. The Cardinals are 1-6 on the road. You're not believing Kyler Murray that they can come in and cover against Chicago?
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be a little windy there. It's the Windy City for something. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be tough. The defense is gonna play hard too, man. That Bears defense is something. They just let up that one big play to Amari Cooper at the end of the game. They were dominating from start to and that
had that
sucks.
game. They had that game.
They had it. They had it.
Dude, who's that guy that dropped the touchdown pass wide open? I mean,
Darnell Mooney. Yeah.
No, that was a Hail Mary. I'm talking about the other one.
Oh, yes.
Number 18. Who the hell was that guy?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but no, I think the Bears are going to go. I think they just got to get something going on offense. They got to score a couple touchdowns. I think they'll be in good shape. I do have the over in this one. I think it's going to be a little bit high scoring, but I think it's just because the Bears are going to put up some points. I think it's a weak Cardinals defense. We saw the defense let the 49ers put up 35 plus points against them, 40-something points. So again, I think it carries over into Chicago.
A quarterback that I have never been a huge fan of in the NFL that is starting to really impress me is Justin Fields, Coach Jay. I mean, he's making some plays with his legs. He has a cannon of an arm. If you had to say today, is he the quarterback of the future for the Bears?
It's one of the greatest tough calls in NFL history, right? Justin Fields has had his games where he looks like, oh my God, this is a great player. He's had his games where it's like, get this guy out of my organization. His good is really good. His bad is really bad. So it's very hard for me to decipher. But I really do think that if you have a chance to get one of these top 3 or 4 quarterbacks coming out right now, I think you have to move on from Justin Fields personally. But I think that if you're a team that needs a quarterback, I would not mind taking a chance with this guy because he can run. He's athletic. But the Bears-Cardinal game, I just think the Bears defense is pretty damn good. I think they're going to make the Cardinals struggle getting every yard that they get. They can't run the ball. They're not very good passing the ball. So I think the Bears win this game in a pretty convincing manner. And I think Matt Eberflus is one of the better coaches in the NFL that's on the hot seat.
Interesting.
So if you're looking and you're a GM at Justin Fields for a team and you want to take him, what kind of deal are you looking to give him? Like what's a good?
It's a problem. Like if I have a team that needs a quarterback, would I trade for Justin Fields and give him $25 million? Or I don't think I would personally, but it is a tough conversation to have because not many quarterbacks can do what Justin Fields does, but you'd like to think you can do better. It's very difficult. I like Justin. I think he's a young quarterback. He's had plenty of opportunities to make some plays. He's had his good games and bad games, like I've mentioned. But for me to bank my career on him moving forward would be tough for me to do. I'd rather go with somebody different personally, but I wouldn't mind having him. But to pay him that kind of money, I just don't know. It's tough.
The team that I would love to see take a chance on Justin Fields would be a team like Atlanta. I mean, you're 6-8. You're not going to get the best pick. You got speed. I would love to see Justin Fields with Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I'm with you, JJ.
Yeah, no, there's some teams that would love to have him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a pretty hefty price tag to get him for a guy that is, not been overly consistent in his career.
100% spot on. A couple more games on this slate before we get into the final ones on Sunday. Cowboys at Dolphins, and this one is damn interesting. You got the Dallas Cowboys who are coming off an ass whooping in Buffalo. And then you got the Miami Dolphins who at practice today, not spotted at practice for the Dolphins today. Entire starting offensive line, Tyreek Hill, Xavier Howard, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Javon Holland and Deshaun Elliott practice, but they're in the final stages of the concussion protocol. The Dolphins are banged up. And Coach Jay, you're on them, so I'm coming back to you. Did you know that they were this banged up, or would that change your pick audible at all?
No, not at all. They're all going to play. I mean, they're fine. They're fine. They're so fast, and they're playing pretty good, and they're at home, and Dallas is struggling on the road. We all know that. I think they're 2-4 on the road. Miami's 6-1 at home. This will be a big game for Miami. Miami hasn't beat a team with a winning record. Dallas hasn't either. I mean, this is a big game for both teams. Obviously, a lot of playoff implications. Home field. I'm taking the speed of Miami that I think that it's going to overcome Dallas's defense, and I think Dallas's offense really had some warts last week against Buffalo, and I think Vic Fangio is a very good defensive coordinator, and I think that they're going to slow down Dallas enough where Miami will get the victory.
You're right. This is a huge game for both teams because both are trying to crush narratives that they can't beat good teams. JJ, how about them Cowboys, man? You're with me. You're on the Cowboys +1. I just see now it has moved to 1.5. But thoughts on the Cowboys in a game that I think both teams, quite frankly, I wouldn't say they need it, but I think you could say that if you had to, that they need it just for themselves going forward.
Both teams.
Yeah, the offense has struggled. What?
What's up?
What?
Both teams need it. They got to have it. They're playing for home field advantage. They're playing for division titles. This is a gigantic game. I mean, gigantic.
Yeah, it is. It is. I guess
what are
they
you
said
talking about.
They don't need it. And you're spitting out food, Coach Jay. Come on. They both don't need it. They both don't need it in the sense of like if they lose, they're not on the brinks to make the playoffs. But you're right. They're fighting for home field advantage, so they do need it.
Which is big because I just mentioned that Dallas can't win on the road and Miami is 6-1 at home. So that's a big deal.
JJ, how about them Cowboys? Let's cover. Let's get a win on the road in Miami.
I like what Dallas does after a weak offensive performance and what they do the following week. They put up a lot more points. I know it was only 10 points that they put up last week against the Bills. That's a small amount, but CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, I don't have to say the names anymore, but you know who is on the offense for the Cowboys. I think they have the best offensive line in football. I don't know if Zach Morton's going to play. I know he got banged up last week, but still, that entire line besides him are still intact. I think that they're going to do well against this team. They can do a lot of different things. A change scares me this week. I think the change train is going to come through, especially what James Cook did to Dallas last week. I think it's going to be very high scoring. I think there's going to be a lot of things that Miami can do offensively. Dallas is going to have to match up. I think they do. I think they find out have a good game plan. And again, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I love the over more so than I like the Cowboys, but yeah.
He said Cowboys have the best line in football, Coach. That's what he said. One of the best.
They're good.
I said no. I think they do have the best. I think they do have the best. What?
Who's their starting five?
Zach Morton. Who's the other dude on the other end?
Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith.
Tyron Smith, and then don't forget about their center.
Tyler.
What's his
Batty ass man.
All I know is that the most healthy group, besides losing Zach Morton last week, that hurt him. But I think if he comes back and plays, they're still the best. They're most healthy. They're intact. They're good.
All right.
Yeah, you missed the right tackle, Terrence Steele. I have a cheat sheet, so it doesn't count for me. But pretty spot on. You put you on the spot, and you were able to name almost all of them. So good job, JJ. I'm proud of you. I
didn't really name any of them. You kind of took the names out of my mouth, but you know what? It's all good.
He did jump the gun. The next game on the slate is probably a snooze fest, but JJ is probably looking at us like we're crazy. The Patriots look like a different team with Bailey Zappi. I mean, I know they're 3-11, but they look a lot better than they do with Mac Jones. JJ, are we crazy for taking the Patriots here?
I think we're crazy even talking about this game. I'd rather go shop wallpaper at Home Depot than watch this one. This one's going to be tough to watch, and it sucks because there's such good football on. I don't know why they wouldn't flex Dallas and Miami, put it on at night for us to watch. Instead, they're going to make us live in misery and watch this ball game. Sucks. But Denver's playing good. They're fighting for a playoff spot. New England, they're folded. They're done. They can't move the ball offensively. Denver has a great defense. I think they shut them out. Game's going to go under at the end of the day because I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be able to do Russell Wilson type things against a Bill Belichick-led defense. But at the end of the day, Denver 20, New England 6.
You said Denver's playing good. They were playing good, but they lost to the Texans 22-17. They beat the Chargers.
That was close. That was close. That was close.
Okay, and then they got blown out last week 42-17 by the Lions. So they were playing good. They were playing good, but I think now they're kind of.
The Lions are just that good of a football team. I mean, the line from the teams that are like Super Bowl contenders to the teams that are going to make a run in the playoffs and then everybody else. That's where the Denver Broncos fall. They lost to a team last week who can basically compete with these Super Bowl contenders. They're at the top of that list, but again, that's where it's at. I mean, at the end of the day, Denver is not too bad. They can still fight in for the playoff.
100%. Coach Jay, thoughts on this game? JJ is right. I mean, there's a lot of things I would rather do than watch this game in primetime.
I think it's going to be an exciting game. We can see Sean Payton yelling at Russell Wilson again. Who knows what's going to happen in this game? We see. I mean, it's crazy. I think New England covers this game. I just don't think Denver should give anybody 6.5 points right now. They played good defense for a while. They were playing very solid football for a little bit. Now, all of a sudden, there's some questions in their mind. New England, Bill Belichick is not going to allow a team to come in there unprepared. He's going to be prepared. It's going to be a closer game than people think. I'm not saying New England is going to win the game, but I think it's going to be a closer game than people expect. And I think New England gets an easy cover.
Wow.
Easy cover.
Easy cover at 6.5. I don't know if it's going to be easy, but I think they get it done. So we will see Christmas, Christmas slate, and we'll wrap up 3 games. Look, guys, I know everybody wants to take the Chiefs -10. A couple weeks ago, I said that there was a game that the public would get crushed on. Sure enough, they did. I feel like this is going to be another one. JJ, I'm not taking the Raiders because they just put up 63 points. I'm taking the Raiders to cover. Number 1, because 10's a pretty big number. And number 2, because you take the Chiefs. I mean, even last week, I was hoping for something. I mean, 27-17 against the Patriots isn't great. And the Patriots were leading that game almost until halftime last week. So the Chiefs still have struggles. It is the Raiders. The Raiders are better than the Patriots. 10 seems like a lot for this game.
Yeah, they had New England had a nice kick return, so they got in the ball in the Kansas City territory early. That's when they scored, I believe. And so offensively, they didn't really do much. Defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs, that's what kept them in the game, and that's what kept the score low enough for Kansas City to cover. And that's what I think I'm going to rely on most. I'm not really relying on the receivers and Patrick Mahomes, but I'm relying more so on Kansas City's defense. They're playing great. Snead's playing great. The defensive line's playing good. So, I like Kansas City to cover this game. They got to get some momentum going in the playoffs. They have to build something in order for them to even be taken seriously, because a lot of people now are saying that they're going to be a one and done team come playoff time, especially if they draw the Bills. That would suck. So get some momentum going here. Beat a team at home. Get the fans behind you. I think Kansas City comes out and puts on a show.
Jay, is this the game where the Chiefs finally come back to life a little bit and blow somebody out of the water?
I like it. However, I have always bet in these division rival games, I usually take the points. This is my exception to the rule. I think Kansas City is going to come out and Patrick Mahomes is going to get things going. They're going to maintain some confidence and get the ball rolling for the playoffs. This is where Kansas City starts to extend themselves from the pack. And this is a big game for Kansas City, whether they win by 3 or whatever. I think they need to win convincingly. And I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the rest of these guys for Kansas City are going to flex their muscles a little bit and win this game and make everybody say, oh, God, the Chiefs are back. And this is where it starts, about week 15, week 16. This is where the ball gets rolling for the Chiefs.
Week 16. I tell you what, Kadarius Toney better catch the first pass that comes his way.
Stop throw it to Kadarius Toney. Let's throw it to the other guys.
Hey, Pop, I got one for you. What's wrong with Travis Kelce?
He's got a pretty hot girlfriend. Nothing. I mean, right now, when you don't have a lot of receiver threats, you're seeing less cover 2. You're seeing more cover 3s and more box and 1 type coverages where Travis Kelce has a little bit more issues getting open. He's not getting singled up on the outside. On the inside, he's seeing more bang. He's getting banged, and there's, it's tougher for him now. When they had good receivers like Tyreek back then, he'd see more shell coverage where he could work the inside and one-on-one against the linebacker. It's a little bit more difficult for him this year.
When it comes to the Chiefs, I really just want to see them blow somebody out of the water, Coach. I know you said that this might be the week, but I think, as you mentioned, we're in week 16, and it's taken them longer than anybody expected to get rolling, so they have to.
You're right. We're waiting. It's been a long wait, but I still think they have the ability to do it. And the Raiders, O'Connell, I just think that the Chiefs will do enough that they can slow down the Raider offense, Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, where I think it's going to be like 31-10 13 maybe.
Just
Yeah, the Raiders did start out hot last time. It was almost, they were winning the game, right? Josh Jacobs ran one for 80 yards, whatever. They took it up. It was 14-14 at halftime. Then the Chiefs ended up winning 35-17 or whatever it was towards the end of the game. I think from start to finish this one, they're not going to let up an 80-yard run to Josh Jacobs. They're not going to let him run down their throats like they did last week. So
I do like the
Kansas City here.
confidence that Aiden O'Connell is starting to build up with the win that he had last week. So I think it'll be a little more difficult division rivals. But at the end of the day, I think Kansas City does separate from the pack at the end of this football game, and they beat them by more than 10.
what do the Raiders do with Jimmy G and his contract, Coach Jay?
Punt.
I mean, it's tough.
What do you do?
Yeah,
I
don't know.
You tell me.
I
actually like this. O'Connell's done some pretty good things, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. You got to see if there's any trade buyers out there. There's some teams that need quarterbacks, and maybe somebody will bite. You throw the bait in the water and wait for that little bobber to go down, and hopefully somebody bites.
Well, one line that the books are going to get you to bite on, it seems like this week, is the Giants-Eagles game, because you're taking the points on Tommy DeVito and those New York Giants at plus 12. Coach, before we get into this game, talk to me about the Eagles' struggles and the Jalen Hurts passing game struggles recently. Take away the tush push, and Jalen Hurts' numbers are deflated.
Well, this is another game like the Kansas City Chiefs. You're hoping that Philadelphia starts to push away from the pack. However, Philadelphia struggles on offense and defense have a major concern to me. Obviously, Matt Patricia's calling a defense for Philadelphia, and they played better last week. But I think the Giants in a divisional rivalry game will keep it close. Tommy DeVito will make some plays, which is hard for him to do. He's not ultra talented, but he'll make some plays with some zone reads and with his legs. He'll keep it kind of close. And I watching Jalen Hurts, I just feel a little apprehension, a little uncertainty with what he's doing, throwing the football. I'm a little concerned about him moving forward. So that's why I took the Giants plus the points. I think the Eagles are a way better football team right now, but I think the Giants do enough in a division rivalry game to keep it closer than 12.
They said Jalen Hurts was going to have an MJ flu game in Seattle, and he sure as hell did not, JJ. They scare me. I'm with Coach. I mean, Jalen Hurts, they're struggling, but I think the Giants, the Eagles have to get right in this game, and what better way to do it at home on Christmas Day than against the Giants, who are struggling. They looked terrible last week against the Saints. Saquon Barkley did nothing last week. So I think the Eagles might win this game by, dare I say, 17, 20 points.
Yeah, I think it's their turning point, really, here. They got to do something. Losing 3 straight, not looking good. Jalen Hurts, it drove me crazy. I didn't even bet the Eagles last week, but I had the under watching him. He would take the ball. I didn't see him really stand under in the pocket. Every time he gets the ball, he's always rolling out, and it's taking away one side of the field. I feel like that limits him a little bit. And I just didn't like what I saw offensively. I haven't liked what I saw offensively from the Eagles' last 3 games. So I think they're going to do something different here. They could take advantage of a bad Giants team. I don't even know if DeVito's playing. So, I mean, he got hurt last week against New Orleans. I don't know if he's playing. I think it's Tyrod Taylor starting.
I'll take Tyrod.
Yeah. But they don't have really any weapons still. I don't know.
No, the Giants are terrible. I agree with you 100%. But right now, Jalen Hurts is very uncertain, and Wake Martindale have some stuff up his sleeve for Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's going to force the issue, and Jalen. I mean, DeAndre Swift takes the play and slides and keeps it in bounds at the plus 40-yard line, and then Jalen Hurts just throws a post route into double coverage and is picked. I just think right now Jalen is not seeing the ball down the field. For the Eagles to be successful, they are a 12 to 14 play drive, convert on 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 5, eat up the clock, keep their defense fresh. They're not getting any big plays, but it's hard to maintain over the course of a football game. So when they miss a 3rd and 5, they punt, and then the other team gets the ball, and then it's going to be a closer game than people think, in my opinion, until Jalen Hurts can prove that they can hit some big splash plays, which they haven't hit in a long time. That's the downfall of the Eagles right now. They got to hit some big plays somehow, some way, and Jalen just doesn't see it right now, and he's not throwing them, and he's not very confident in throwing those right now. So he's more of a dink and dunk type guy, eat up the clock. And I think the Giants can feast on that, and the Giants will play good defense and keep it close.
So I want to ask you this question just to get a gauge for how bad you think it actually is in Philly right now. If the Eagles played the Niners tomorrow, what would that spread be?
Niners be like 12, 11 and a half.
Wow.
Damn, no way, dude.
Wow.
That's San Fran?
Yeah, at San Fran's fine.
Neutral field will probably be 6.5 or 7, but at San Fran be 10.5, 11. Yeah.
Wow. I
would have gone 7.
Yeah,
I would have said 7.
I was
At
not
San Fran?
At San Fran, I would say 7. I mean, the Eagles aren't fucking
Eagles
terrible.
can't stop the run right now. They can't stop the pass right now. They have no
points.
corners. They're struggling running the football. What are they going to give it to Swift or Gainwell? What are they going to do? Run a quarterback draw power? Come on.
Dude, I can't stand some of the play calling last week either, man. They were not throwing the ball in
San
35,
Francisco
36.
49ers should be like 12 to 13-point favorites in every game that they play right now. Except
Okay, this is
Baltimore.
This is a perfect segment into our last game. So it's a 5.5 point spread in San Francisco, which is crazy, right? Because again, the Ravens are probably right now a better team than the Eagles, right, Coach?
Yes.
So
the Ravens are for real.
Yeah, they are for real. I was not expecting 12. That was crazy. How about this line? 5.5? Do you think this is accurate for the Ravens?
I do, because I think the Ravens are the second best team in the NFL behind the 49ers. And it's at San Francisco, so it's a legit line. Lamar Jackson is a slippery dude, man. You can't tackle him.
Yep.
And he can beat you with his legs, and they can hand the ball off. They're physical. I hate losing Keaton Mitchell, man. I hate that because he was averaging 9.2 yards a touch. That hurts him a lot. And obviously, likely is going to be a good tight end for him, but they missed their tight end and all that stuff. But Lamar is a bad man. But Baltimore is built on physicality. They're built on physicality on defense. They play great coverages. They play tight man-to-man. They play quarters. They play quarter, half. They play cover 2. They do a great job of mixing and matching their coverages. They have linebackers can run, and Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. I mean, this defense is awesome. They play great red zone defense. They have a good blitz package. I mean, they are a very good football team, and not to mention the best special teams in the NFL. Justin Tucker is one of the best kickers, and Harbaugh is a great special team football coach. So they're going to win 2 of the 3 phases every time they play. Which 2? I don't know, but special teams will be 1. Usually they can win offense. Sometimes they can win defense or offense, but that's why I like them, because they are well-balanced, well-rounded. They play great special teams, and they have a quarterback that is a bad man.
Talk about the other quarterback, your MVP frontrunner, Brock
MVP.
Purdy.
Oh, I love him. Yes.
3,700 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I got to say, I can't say he's a system quarterback anymore, because he's just every week he's balling, right? So I can admit when I'm wrong, he looks like just a very good
really
quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, I am.
Can't wait to watch him against the Ravens, because I love the Ravens defense. And obviously Shanahan up some good plays and system, all that stuff. But it's about avoiding the rush and making the throws and tight window throws, and Purdy can do that. This is going to be the most fun game of the year, I think, for me to watch, because what I've seen from Baltimore's defense and San Francisco's offense and San Francisco's defense and Baltimore's offense, this is going to be fun.
I can't remember. I already forget what the picks were. JJ, what side do you want on this game, Ravens or Niners?
This is a Super Bowl preview.
I'm on the Ravens.
Here first. Super Bowl preview. Ravens, 49ers.
Y'all saw the whole thing with the Super Bowl letters or whatever, matching up with the colors of the Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, basically?
I didn't. No.
You guys see that? Well, if you look at the Super Bowl preview, they had like some colors, and it matched up last year too with that matchup as well, between the Eagles and Chiefs. They had green and red, and it's matching up again with the the LB7 or whatever Super Bowl number this is. But yeah,
so it might be fixed. The league might be fixed, huh, JJ? Kind of like you're wearing purple right now for the Ravens.
This is the red. This is a red color. So,
sorry.
Well, you are on the Ravens to cover, so walk us through it, because again, I'm with Coach. This is going to be the best game of the year, no doubt.
I think it's going to be tight. I just think it's going to be really, really tight. I think the 49ers are going to win this game. I see a 23-20 game. Both teams can do things offensively. I know the 49ers can do things a little bit better, but I think 5.5 points for the Ravens is just too many points to give out. I know the 49ers have just been balling, but I think they're going to slow down Brock Purdy a little bit. Pops, you talked about different schemes that the Ravens run on defense, and I think it's going to confuse Brock Purdy just a little bit. just a little bit.
You're right.
They can cause a couple.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with you. I think it might. But
They have to cause a turnover or two against property. They have to have him turn the ball over. If they make a couple turnovers on defense, I think the Ravens either win or just cover. I mean, it'll be fine. So,
Dip dog rabbit.
Yeah,
I know it was early in the year, but the Ravens have been so good. I went back and looked at their schedule because they do have 3 losses. And how the hell did the Colts? I mean, dude, like Gardner Minshew went into Baltimore and beat them earlier this year. Like that's impressive. So
the Ravens are a hot and cold type team, right? I mean, especially offensively. Lamar, they can look really poor on offense, but Lamar's a wild card. I mean, golly, you can't tackle him. It's weird. But there's some games he looks not very good, like 3 or 4 games a year. But over the course of a season, I would not want to play against Lamar Jackson. I really wouldn't. And this time of year, healthy, fast. Now he's got some weapons on the outside with Odell and Zay Flowers and Likely and obviously the running game. Jeez, scary.
I'm with you. 2 of the best teams in the entire NFL. And I could see a Super Bowl preview in this game too, because again, Lamar, they said all he could do was run, and they haven't run much this year, and he's throwing the ball lights out. And then you've got two MVP candidates, Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy on the other side. So, boys,
where Lamar go to school? I forgot.
Louisville.
Yes, go.
Boys, Merry early Christmas to you and your family. Enjoy it, and we will see you next Wednesday for another interesting show as we inch closer and closer to playoff season. So, boys, enjoy it. We'll catch you next Wednesday.
All right. Night.